The Economist had this on their front cover last week, the baby bust economy. Once again, let's see if women's wombs are being monetized. Let's see. Here is the full article, but I am going to make it a little bit bigger so that we can see it in chunks. I'm not going to do this whole article because it is obviously long, but it says across much of the world, the fertility rate, the average number of births per woman, is collapsing. Although the trend may be familiar, its extent and consequences are not. Even as AI leads to surging optimism in some quarters, the baby bust hangs over the future of the world economy. In 2000, the fertility rate was 2.7 births per woman, comfortably above the replacement rate at 2.1, at which a population is stable. Today, it is at 2.3 and falling. The 15 largest countries by GDP all have a fertility rate below the replacement rate. That includes America and much of the rich world, but also China and India, neither of which are rich, but which together account for more than a third of the global population. The result is that in much of the world, the patter of tiny feet is being drowned out by the clatter of walking sticks. The prime examples of aging countries are no longer just Japan and Italy, but also Brazil, Mexico, and Thailand. By 2030, more than half of the inhabitants of East and Southeast Asia will be over 40. As the old die and are not fully replaced, populations are likely to shrink. Outside of Africa, the world's population is forecast to peak in the 2050s, and in the century smaller than it is today. Even in Africa, the fertility rate is falling fast. So if people don't know, yes, the births per woman in African countries is definitely falling. Obviously, the issues is all economic. Younger workers are needed to support the older folks that are drawing pensions because obviously leaders have not fixed that problem. It says retired folks draw on the output of the working aged either through the state, which levies taxes on workers to pay public pensions, or by cashing in savings to buy goods and services, or because relatives provide care, unpaid. But whereas the rich world currently has around 3 people between the ages of 20 and 64 years old for everyone over 65, by 2050 it would have less than 2. The implications are higher than taxes, later retirements, lower real returns for savers, and possibly government budget crises. Lower ratios of workers to pensioners are only one problem stemming from the collapsing fertility. As we explain later this week, younger people have more of what psychologists call fluid intelligence, the ability to think creatively as to solve problems. This is part 2, examining the baby bust economy from The Economist. There are lots of reasons why the fertility rate globally is declining, one of which is education of women getting opportunities to work, and birth control. So I'm going to continue this article towards the top. Many of its underlying causes, though, are in themselves welcome. As people have become richer, they have tended to have fewer children. Today, they face different trade-offs between work and family, and these are mostly better ones. The populist conservatives who claim low fertility is a sign of a society's failure and call for the return to traditional family values are wrong. More choice is a good thing, and no one owes it to others to bring up children. Amen. And especially since these conservatives are the ones that are typically the ones that do not want people to have free child care or to have a safety net for people. They want to restrict choices and think that that is a better way to get children. Okay, liberals' impulse to encourage more immigration is more noble, but it too is a misdiagnosis. Immigration in the rich world is at a high record, helping individual countries tackle worker shortages, but the global nature of the fertility slump means that by the middle of the century, the world is likely to face a dearth of young, educated workers unless something changes. And if we are just relying on people coming from other countries, that means a brain drain and a worker drain from those particular countries. So it's just a shift of bodies, and it creates more more countries that have an inequality of income and an inequality of educated people. Okay, so A lot of the times these countries are have male leaders, and they're not listening to women as far as the reasons why women are opting out of marriage or opting to have fewer children. Most of the times the men in leadership want to do heavy-handed policies, and that's not helping reduce the cost of childcare, reduce the cost of living, increase the help from the men, which is a societal issue, and create a system that is more helpful to bringing children into the world and more supportive of women and mothers. So we keep having these conversations, or they keep putting out these articles that are very heavy on the financial implication, and I understand that, but there is a reason that women are opting out. Women are tired of their wombs being monetized, whereas women and children are devalued in this world and globally, and the numbers show that. The dwindling numbers are more than just numbers to be quantified. There is a quality of life situation that has to be tackled as well, and societal issues that need to be tackled. Y'all jump in the comments, tell me what you think, like, comment.